Yeah, so I suppose one of the reasons why penguins are so cute and why people love them so much is because, when we see them on land, they look so awkward. And the reason for that, of course, is that they are not adapted for living on land completely. They live this kind of life of two halves where they're on land, but they're also in the sea. They can actually spend like up to about 60 to 70% of their total time in life in the sea. So a lot of the time we don't really see them, and when they're in the water, they are so perfectly suited to the environment. So a lot of birds that need to fly have hollow bones, basically. Instead of having all that kind of spongy material that we have in their bones, it's completely hollow in most birds. And that is an adaptation for flight. So, they have lighter bones, so there's kind of less drag on them so they can fly. But obviously, penguins don't need that. They're not flying anywhere. So they've actually adapted to have the opposite. Their bones have kind of solidified again as they've adapted towards swimming in the ocean. So that's something that I find really interesting because, it's kind of, you can kind of see their evolution progress. Like they must have had hollow bones at some point because they were birds, that could fly once upon a time. But as penguins kind of took this route of going towards the sea, then they actually adapted back into kind of what we would call the regular kind of bone structure. Yeah, there's so many adaptations. They have this thing called counter shading that I find really interesting. So obviously they have kind of their predators coming up from below. So their fronts are white, so they're kind of camouflaged against the light from the sky. But then they're black on their back, so if something's looking at them from above, then they're also shaded again. So I mean, it looks really cute to us, like they're wearing a little tuxedo or something. But these animals are incredibly adapted to the environment that they're living in. They're pretty much perfectly suited to where they're at, which I find fascinating.
Listen to this episode on Spotify, Anchor, Radio Public, Breaker, Google Podcasts, and the Pocket Casts. And if you can wait, it's also going to be soon available on YouTube.
I mean, I've always been interested in nature.
Kind of Mother Nature's perfect animal,
Seeing Nile crocodiles and being kind of terrified.
Welcome to the Nature Talks podcast.